Rwanda, a land deeply wounded by war drums and weighed down by despair. Lord, you are the God of justice, the God of peace, and the defender of the oppressed. We lift up our nation and our people to you, Lord. We acknowledge, O Lord, that our homeland has been divided into two realities: the Rwanda of power and privilege, and the Rwanda of suffering and silence. But you, Lord, see both. You hear the cries of the oppressed, and you call leaders to account. Father, we pray that you break the cycle of fear, poverty, and violence. Protect the innocent, strengthen the weary, and give courage to those who speak truth in the face of oppression. May justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a never-flowing stream. We ask for wisdom and strength for all who work for peace, for freedom, and for the dignity of every Rwandan. Heal our homeland, O Lord. Replace despair with hope, oppression with freedom, and fear with courage. In the words of Psalm 34, chapter 34, verse 18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Be near to Rwanda today, Lord, and guide us toward a future of peace, justice, and unity. We pray all this in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. So, dear brothers and sisters, once again, welcome to our discussion. So, before we start, allow me to share with you some housekeeping matters that will guide us through this discussion. So, we'll have like 6 points to talk about. One is respectful engagement. This discussion or this space is a platform for open dialogue, but we ask all participants to maintain respect in their contributions. Disagreements are welcome, but insults, hate speech, or personal attacks are not. Speaking requests. If you would like to speak, please request the mic. The host will grant speaking opportunities in an orderly manner. Kindly keep your contributions concise and relevant to the topic. Time management. To ensure everyone gets a chance, speakers will be encouraged to keep their remarks within 3 to 5 minutes unless otherwise invited by the host. Recording and sharing. Please note that this space may be recorded or summarized for broader sharing. Be mindful of what you contribute, as it may reach an audience beyond this live discussion. So, questions and reactions. If you prefer not to speak, you are welcome to engage through the reaction tools or post comments in the chat section. These will be acknowledged where possible. So, lastly, focus on the topic. Today's conversation is on Kagame's war drums and Rwandan despair. Let us remain focused and avoid diversions. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are privileged to have Dr. David Himbara as our guest. So our guest today needs a little introduction. Dr. David Himbara has long been a courageous voice for truth, Accountability and Justice in Rwanda. With his background as both an insider in government and a leading critic from exile, he offers a unique perspective on challenges our homeland faces. We are honored to hear from him today. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you and welcome. Allow me to introduce the subject matter with my observations that there are two Rwandas today, the Rwanda of Kagame and the Rwanda for the rest of Rwandans. The Rwanda of Kagame, now here is the comprehensive analysis. The Rwanda of Kagame is characterized by 5 profoundly regrettable practices. 1. Warfare and imaginary enemies. The country engages in perpetual warfare against perceived enemies, perpetuating a cycle of violence and sufferings. 2. Economic burden on the Rwandan population. The pursuit of war and the maintenance of military-industrial complex impose a heavy economic burden on the Rwandan people, leading to widespread poverty and hardship. 3. Exorbitant lifestyle and global travel. Kagame indulges in an extravagant lifestyle, utilizing executive jets for international travel and seeking medical attention abroad. This lifestyle contrasts sharply with the dire circumstances faced by the majority of the population. 4. National debt and aircraft procurement. The country accumulates substantial debt to finance the purchase of aircraft for the bankrupt national airline, exacerbating the country's financial crisis. Lastly, is the suppression of opposition and political freedom. Kagame's regime silences political dissent by jailing opposition leaders, restricting the expression of dissent, and hindering the development of a democratic society. The economic challenges facing Rwanda today. Rwanda is grappling with the severe economic challenges that threaten the well-being of its citizens. The country's economic growth has stagnated, resulting in a decline in wealth creation. According to the Rwanda Revenue Authority's 2023-2024 tax data, only 357 of the 383,461 businesses in Rwanda are classified as large, defined as those with annual turnover exceeding 1 billion Rwandan francs or 692 and 2,002 US dollars. This stark disparity highlights the extreme poverty that confronts a population of 14 million. The African Wealth Report 2025, published by Henry and Partners, A New World Wealth, presents a grim picture of Rwanda's economic situation. The report reveals that only 1,000 individuals in Rwanda possesses liquid investment worth of 1 million US dollar, while Seychelles boasts 500 millionaires in a population of 121,354. In light of these pressing challenges, I'm pleased to invite David Himbara to join us in a discussion on these critical issues. Please, Dr. David, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Advocate Inyasi Rusagara. I extend my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to address today's episode of the space series on Kagame's war drums and Rwandan despair. Allow me to respond to the 5 key areas you highlighted regarding the dire circumstances confronting the people of Rwanda under the regime of Paul Kagame. Rightly, you highlighted 5 areas as follows. 1, Kagame's recent escalation of conflict and rhetoric. 2, the pervasive economic hardship faced by the people of Rwanda. 3, Kagame's billionaire lifestyle and accumulation of wealth. 4, Rwanda's mounting debt burden. And 5, systematic violation of human rights and imprisonment of Rwanda's opposition leaders. To commence, I'd like to discuss Kagame's warfare and imaginary enemies. On August 26, 2025, a few days ago, Kagame addressed retired and serving military generals, addressing them with these words. I quote, "We are warriors. We engage in combat to ensure that when a war is initiated, it will not be theirs to conclude." This war drum encapsulates the true Kagame, who perpetually engages in warfare against perceived adversaries, thereby perpetuating a cycle of violence and suffering both within and outside Rwanda. In addition to the rhetoric and the war drums of the 26th August, Kagame also just introduced sweeping reforms of Rwandan military structure, published on August 27th, the day after he beat his war drums. In the new changes, for example, when Kagame retires, he and his immediate family will be protected by the Republican Guard, protection forever. The President of the Senate, Chief Justice, Prime Minister, Speaker of Parliament don't get such protection. They will only be protected for 6 months. This special treatment of the man we call the leader, these protective measures for himself and his families, specialized protections, they add to Article 114 of the Rwandan Constitution, which, as you remember, that article exempts Kagame from prosecution for treason or any serious violation he commits while in office. And of course, while in office, he can't face any prosecution because he's the law. He hires and fires Chief Justice. What do we learn from all this? Warmongering, war drums, while seeking special privileges. Ladies and gentlemen, let us acknowledge the fact that Kagame is deeply entrenched in the culture of war. Given the ongoing peace process spearheaded by the Trump administration to bring an end to the mass killings in DRC after 3 decades of Kagame's war in the region, one would have anticipated that Kagame would be advocating for peace. Absolutely not. Instead, Kagame is raising the drums of perpetual warfare. He has assembled his retired and newly appointed generals, indicating his unwavering readiness to engage in savage warfare indefinitely. Let us acknowledge that Kagame is a warmonger and belongs to historical figures commonly known as such, as warmongers, known for extensive conquests and aggressive expansionist warfare. These individuals are characterized by their involvement in instigating and advocating for conflict, which results in widespread loss of life and devastation. Notable historical figures associated with warmongering include Vladimir Putin, who seeks significant portions of Ukraine and is currently bombing thousands of civilians, while like Kagame, they're supposedly engaging in peace, but making wars. We know, of course, other figures, historical figures. Adolf Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany, responsible for initiating the Second World War and orchestrating and unleashing the Holocaust, which resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Not thousands, tens of millions of people. Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union, whose actions, including purges and forced collectivization, that led to deaths of millions of Soviet citizens, We, of course, know of Mao Zedong, the founder of the People's Republic of China, whose policies and leadership resulted in deaths of millions of people. Estimates of the total number of facilities in the Democratic Republic of Congo since Kagame's initial invasion of 1996 that continue today through Kagame's M23. Estimates range from 6 million to 10 million, even higher among people displaced. Regarding Congo's mineral wealth, Rwanda exploits its conflict as a means of extracting Congolese minerals, such as gold and coltan, which are utilized in production of mobile phones, electric vehicles, cameras, and automobiles. The UN now says that as of 2025, mineral smuggling and violence in DRC is reaching unprecedented levels. Will Kagame ever relinquish control of DRC? Certainly not, without being compelled to do so. This has taken on for 30 years. Number two, Kagame's perpetual savage warfare imposes economic hardships on the people of Rwanda, as Ignacy noted out. The pursuit of war and maintenance of military machine means that Kagame's primary focus is not development or wealth creation to improve the lives of people, of Rwandans. Contrary to this, Rwandans remain among the world's poorest. As of today, the International Monetary Fund ranks Rwanda among 25 of the poorest and most vulnerable countries globally, while the World Bank ranks Rwanda as the ninth poorest. As Ignacy pointed out, as Advocate Rusagara pointed out, the Rwandan Revenue Authority data shows that only 357 businesses are classified as large. Only 357 are classified as large. And large elsewhere is too small in Rwanda. Large is defined as those with annual turnover of slightly over 500 million. Imagine 357 and 57 companies sustaining a population of 14 million people. That is a disaster. The African Wealth Report of 2025 presents a bleak picture, outlook of Rwanda's economic landscape. The report discloses that Rwanda has only 1,000 individuals with liquid investable wealth exceeding 1 million. In places like Kenya, you have over 6,000 millionaires, and there are also billionaires. Uganda, Tanzania, none of those are in the league of Rwanda. Rwanda is at the bottom with small population countries like Seychelles. The millionaires in Rwanda, by the way, those ones mentioned, they include Kagame himself, whose Crystal Ventures Limited controls Rwanda's private sector. Other exceptionally fluent Rwandans are Kagame's associates, including his son, Ivan Kagame, who claims to be a partner of a venture capital fund and co-founder of an energy company, he says. That's why his father, Kagame, puts him to sit in the board of directors of Rwanda Development Board. Other Kagame's associates, so-called millionaires in Rwanda, including Hatari Seseko and Jidi Gatera, people who are known in Rwanda as Kagame's Abashumba in Kinyarwanda, which means the Kagame's front men. They hide his wealth. Kagame eliminated genuine millionaires a long time ago. None is left. Those included Triba Turujura Yabatwa, Valens Kajaguakwa, Alfred Karisa, Asenapur Wigara, and Miko, the cell phone billionaire in Rwanda, in Congo. All these are finished. Their business are finished. And those who did not die mysteriously, like Tribat and Miko, they died in exile, and their bodies cannot even be returned to Rwanda. because he removed their citizenship, even though they are native-born Rwandans. That is the situation. And while all this poverty goes on, and the grabbing of the wealth going on, Rwandans endure poverty, like I said, like also Rusagara said. While that is going on, Kagame indulges in an opulence lifestyle, living a lifestyle of a billionaire, traveling globally in a fleet of executive jets to attend football matches and seek medical attention in Germany. The pair of Gulfstream jets, each valued at 65 million, Kagame charters from himself, from his $1 billion business empire, Crystal Ventures, which encompasses a range of industries, including everything from manufacturing, road construction for the government, engineering, aviation, real estate, food production and processing. And as if that was not enough, Kagame continues to accumulate debt to finance the purchase of aircraft for his bankrupt national airline, Rwanda Air, exacerbating the country's economic crisis. Just 3 days ago, we learned that Kagame just acquired 2 Boeing 737-800 aircraft to serve stranded customers of the bankrupt Rwanda Air. The Ministry of Finance's 2024 Rwanda Fiscal Risk Assessment Statement reveals Rwanda's air's dismal situation. From 2019 to 2023 alone, the government granted Rwanda Air 555 million. That's $500 million to keep Rwanda Air afloat. Additionally, the government guaranteed nearly 80 million of Rwanda Air's external debt, servicing the debt. The acquisition of 2 Boeing 737-800 as an estimated 120 million each. That adds to over $2 billion that the money Kagame has spent on tourism infrastructure, including the Kigali Convention Center. Yet, these millions of this infrastructure, billions of this structure, they don't bring tourists. They don't earn. The National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda's 2024 travel survey shows that in 2024, Rwanda received 285, meaning less than 20,000 business tourists in Rwanda. And moreover, 71 of these come from the neighboring countries. And therefore, don't use this expensive infrastructure that has bankrupted our country. As if that were not enough, Kagame is building the new Bugesera airport at a cost of over $2 billion. I'm sure you watched recently what I saw here, although I'm far from that. You saw the difference between Kagame and his Burundian counterpart, Evariste Ndayishimiye. Ndayishimiye, a month ago, launched the construction of a railway that is going to link Burundi to the seaport of Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, which means that the exporters and importers, Burundi importers and Burundian exporters and importers, will be able to transport goods to Dar es Salaam from Bujumbura in less than a day instead of weeks. This will reduce the costs of goods in Burundi by half, thereby increasing wealth, saving wealth that was being wasted on broken roads with trucks taking weeks or even months, with goods even rotting on the road. That is what a real leader does. Real leaders build infrastructure that create wealth. Kagame started talking about building railways in 2000. Even boasted that, cited the dates when Rwanda the transportation of goods from Kigali to Dar es Salaam would be cut in half a day via Isaka. But no sooner did he mention about the claim that he was going to build a railway than declared publicly that he would hit Tanzanian president, then Kikwete, that he would hit him. That was the end of the railway. Moving on now, to the politics in Rwanda. The suppression of the opposition and political figures, leaders, does not stop. Kagame continues to silence political dissent by jailing opposition leaders, restricting the expression of dissent, and hindering any kind of democratic notions. You all know that the opposition leader, Victoire Ingabire Umuhoza, is in her third month in detention. Since her arrest, she has not been permitted to communicate with her family in the Netherlands or her international legal teams. Ingabire's bail application was denied by the courts during legal proceedings characterized by irregularities. Among the irregularities include the rejection of her Kenyan lawyer's application to represent her. Despite the fact that the Rwandan law allows lawyers from the East African community to practice law in Rwanda. Moreover, the courts failed to consider the pending litigation filed by Ngabire's lawyer, which aimed to challenge her persecution and detention in solitary confinement. Victoire remains currently retained in solitary confinement at the Mageragere prison in conditions that do not comply with what we know as the Nelson Mandela rules. So as I go on to conclude, once again, the question arises, who will rescue the people of Rwanda from the brutal and authoritarian rule of General Paul Kagame? Let us be clear. Rwanda has never encountered a leader of such ferocity, hatred, and violence. Never. Never in our history. And I'm speaking as a man who fled as a child from the Kaiba and the Hutu ruler who massacred and exiled us. Kagame is not in that league, sir and madam. Nor is he in the league of the dictator Habyarimana, who replaced Kayibanda supposedly to improve the lives of the Tutsi, but ended up instead in a genocide. Let us be clear. Indeed, Africa has never witnessed a leader like Kagame. the violence, displacement, and killings perpetuated by African dictators such as Idi Amin, Mobutu Sese Seko, Maria Mengistu, these pale, this is nowhere close to Kagame. As I said, the numbers alone involved in Kagame's league runs alongside global figures in 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 millions, not even 1 million, in millions. In millions, we're talking about this. This is in the league of global tyrants like Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, whose regimes resulted in deaths of millions upon millions of their countrymen and women and civilians outside their borders. The deaths at the hands of Kagame in Rwanda, in Congo, and elsewhere, they run in millions, as we said. Estimation ranging from 6 to 10. That is what we are talking about. Those who talk peace, do you think, as I said, do you even think that he remembers that he has committed to peace through Washington? No, he has not forgotten. I honestly believe that only God can save Rwanda and the people of Rwanda. I thank you all for your kind attention. God bless you.
Thank you very much, David Himbara, for your insightful and thought-provoking presentation. You have really shed light on the realities that many Rwandans live with and given us a lot to reflect on. So thank you very much once again. So we will now move into the engagement session. The audience, it's time for the audience, Dr. David, to engage with you, ask questions, or give contribution in any way. But before we open for the audience, I would like to ask you like 3 or 4 questions. With your permission, should I go ahead and ask questions?
Yes, indeed. It's my pleasure, Rusagara, son.
All right, thank you so much. My first question goes straight. What do you think is preparing President Kagame war rhetoric, including that every bullet has a purpose?
You know, in my estimation, you see, every once in a while, when Kagame disappears, going for medical attention abroad, upon his return, he has to basically be heard. He has to reestablish himself. And reestablishing himself means sounding like rhetoric. violence, that were warriors. You remember the last time he disappeared, and when he came back, he told the West, including you, the US, that they can go to hell. That's the Kagame. That is his life. Occasionally, he feels that he must remind the world that he is the warrior, that is the warmonger. That is true. That is who he is. That's a warmonger. Warmonger lives on warmongering. Thank you.
Thank you, David. The second question is this: What do you make of Kagame's lining up his retired generals with the new ones?
Yes. You see again. Let's also remember that very often warmongers are also cowards. They have to make sure that everyone is towing the line via intimidation. So he's reminding those generals that he dumped in the dustbin that they better not think of any coups or anything like that. Otherwise, he will fix them. So he puts them online to humiliate them. Some of those are probably hungry, poverty-stricken. You saw them looking pathetic. It's humiliating them to keep everyone in check. That is his assurance for his power containment, for displaying power over everyone in Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. David. And now, where does Kagame war drums leave President Trump-driven peace process?
Yeah. Thank you for that. You see, again, it's like we are reminded of Vladimir Putin. So you saw him, Putin, meeting Trump, talking peace on American soil. Facing the cameras, and people thought, well, maybe there is hope here. Maybe there is talk of peace. But what did Putin do after he went back? He bombed Ukraine 2 nights ago. Civilian homes. The Russian military leveled an apartment complex. Not only that, the Russian military in Kyiv, in Ukrainian capital, they bombed the headquarters of the European Union office. They bombed the offices of the British Council in Kiev. So these warmongers, you see, talk peace while unleashing war. That's why Kagame is, on one hand, is supposed to be engaging in the peace process that began in June, but here we are now in August. He's talking war. Like I said, a warmonger is always a warmonger. There is no cure for warmongering besides disarming warmongers, removing arms from them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. The last question is this. You mentioned that Kagame has given himself and his family military protection for life, but excluded other leaders. What sense does that make?
Yeah, thank you for that. You see, basically Kagame is telling everyone, from a villager to the Chief Justice, to the President of the Senate, to the Prime Minister, everyone. He says, there is what applies to me does not apply to anyone else except my family. The Constitution, Article 114, gives Kagame the right to commit even treason without any consequences when he leaves office. It's guaranteed. Read that article. So now, in his new military doctrine, he's reminded the nation and everyone that only he and his family will have protection in and outside power, period. The rest, including the heads of the different arms of government, they can only get protection for 6 months. But Kagame's daughter Ange or son will have protection forever and ever after. There are two worlds in Rwanda. There is a world for Kagame and family, and the world for the rest of the people of Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Now we are moving the engagement. The audience is going to ask questions or giving contribution. So first of all, I would like to introduce two of our comrades who have joined us in this space. First, our brother Justin Wahunga. Justin Wahunga is a committed comrade and a pen fighter whose voice and writings continue to challenge dictatorship and inspire courage among Rwandans. We have also Mr. Ari with us, the first vice coordinator of the Rwanda National Congress, whose leadership and dedication strengthen our collective struggle for freedom and justice. So I will invite Justin to speak first, followed by Ali. So as a reminder, we kindly ask that each contribution stays within 3 to 5 minutes. Brother Wahunga, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much to you, my dear brother, Rusagara. You are so kind with words on me and the compliments. I really appreciate. So I always enjoy your conversations and your thoughtfulness and insightful comments. And of course, I thank my dear brother, David. We have a special relationship and a special mission together, which was given to us by Christine, her sister. On this, I thank him, everyone. Yeah, so I don't want to get to use my 3 minutes in congratulating and thanking people. I go straight. I would like to thank David for eloquently speaking about the case of Ingabire. He has done so well and is so knowledgeable about her, and I know he's an admirer. And a lot of things we had to do with him, and I think we shall continue doing that to defend her. And one of the things that I would like to say when we speak about her is that we have a demonstration here in London on the 5th of September from 1 to 3 o'clock at the Commonwealth Conference to ask for her release with an unconditional release. So I invite everyone who can to join us or to encourage others to come. Now, coming to the topic again, I'd like probably to share with you from what he said, because I could go on congratulating him for everything he's done, because I know he's currently good at our economy and so on. But just to add a few things that perhaps people are not aware of. But it is, how did we get to this position where we are almost the enemy of everyone? I certainly think people don't perhaps know is that before the relationship or stability in the region was not as bad when Kagame actually came to power. You will know that we had what they called CPGL, Economic Community of Great Lakes. We had a bank, development bank in Goma, we had the secretariat in Gisenyi, we had Institute of Research in Bujumbura, we had the company of electrification in Zaire, which became Congo. And they're almost moving to the stage of signing a free movement of people, goods, and the capital. And essentially, it was that to be able for people to move and to stay and to live in a few of the countries. But I think the most beneficial, of course, was Rwanda and Burundi, because you have many people in the DRC, and to have the secure residence, we thought was the best thing we could have done. He spoke of Miko, and you will know that the biggest businessmen in Congo were Rwandans. And I was reading that in Masisi, we had 525 big farms, and 500 of them belong to Banyarwanda. Forget about this, they said the conflict between the Rwanda are excluded. What I know, and I would like someone who knows better to me to correct me, is that we had indeed in the DRC, like any other communities that I've said before, conflicts between communities. And definitely there were conflicts between Rwanda, what they call the Rwandans, or people implanted in Congo, and the rest of the communities in the Congo, in the North Kivu. So it was they all call themselves indigenous. We are saying, and it's up in terms of politics, because Rwanda had become to be the majority in the region, especially Masisi, Ruchuru, Nyiragongo. They came to be the biggest group. And of course, there was a kind of resentment if we came to elections that the people, the Banyarwanda, or they call the Banyarwanda, not Banyarwanda, but they were seen as Banyarwanda, whose implantation the Congo can come perhaps longer is. Part of them were brought by the Belgians, others went as illegal immigrants, others, of course, especially in Ruchuru and Nyiragongo, were indigenous as the rest. But for political reasons, as we know in the rest of Africa, when it comes to power sharing, the issue of numbers come. So the Rwanda had come to be a biggest number in that part, and so those who called themselves indigenous came to have a problem, to cause problems. And indeed, 1993, there was a fighting between Rwandans, the people who had called themselves Banyarwanda, now we called Banyamera, others called the Hutu, others called the Tutsi. That was fighting between March and September 1993, and they said to have about 15,000 people died. Half of them would have been people of Rwandan origin, that's were Congolese. And Mobutu had to dispatch his special force to come and to calm them down. But now it has changed. In the politics of Kagame, now it is no longer between the Congolese and the people whom they consider as foreigners, as Rwandans. It is now the Tutsi issue. So this has crystallized the issue of ethnic conflict in that part of Congo, and by saying that you are fighting for the sake of Tutsi, it has heightened the tension between the two. And when you see the killing that taking place now, and mostly in Rutshuru, the majority are Hutu. So killing them in the name of saying you are defending the exclusion of Tutsi, it has heightened ethnic conflict, which actually before was actually trying to get over it by having this economic community of the Great Lakes. We had also the KBO, Kagera River Basin Organization, which brought together Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. And David spoke about railway connections. Part of it was to develop this area, and there was a planned project for linking those four countries by rail. Now it has, as you know now, there's a problem. It's not working. We had also, but that was 1977. The separation was 1976. And then we had 1983, the community of the states of the Central African states, which was about 11 countries, which included Angola, which included Congo, and Gabon, Cameroon. But now, as you remember because they had also mutual cooperation in terms of assistance. Now, when Rwanda now attacked the Congo, the DRC, it was actually violating the agreement they had between those countries, and they have pulled out now. So we have lost all the links we had with all the other countries, and that's the biggest problem, is that it has been broken. And the Rwandans, the Rwandans, if you like it or not, is overpopulated. And what has helped Rwanda for a long time, speaking about the economics of it, is that we have been able, people in Uganda, Tanzania, in Congo, and especially Rwanda, we have very industrious people. They have been imported in Congo, they were in Tanzania, Southern states, in Uganda, in the coffee estates. So this kind of regional integration has been completely destroyed by the warmongering by the president, by Kagame. And when you come to issue of we spoke about violence, I personally feel that in his innermost feeling, he believes in violence to get what he wants. And of course, it seems to have worked in Uganda, and perhaps with the NRA, it was possible. Taking over one, it was possible. The first invasion of Congo was possible. The second was possible. So I believe, has come to believe that violence pays. And I think stopping it now is a bit difficult because you come into the psyche, and there is also what they call the hubris, that you feel that you have succeeded, you never fall. And it has happened to all these dictators, Napoleon, Hitler, and Mussolini. It has happened. So I have a strong feeling that it will be hard for him to draw back. And also, my fear is based on the fact that all this has happened. I remember, for instance, when M23 in 2012, I remember this general prosecutor for war crimes, it was called the RAP in the American. He threatened, he said, if we don't stop, we can do the same as we did for the Taylor. Taylor went to the Hague, not because of what happened in Liberia, but because of supporting the rebel group in Sierra Leone. So I think there's a problem there. I don't think he feels very comfortable that if he let go, then he will be pardoned for all the things we are talking about him. Remember the millions in the Congo, there is general concern in the Congo, there is now having supported a group that is committed war crimes against humanity, probably genocide. So the only safety and protection is taking power. That's what I suspect. And if you remember, he said one time that there's an old lady whom I think in Tehran they wanted to kill her. They asked her, "What kind of death do you prefer?" And he said, she spat in their face. He said, "Imagine now, you asked me, he didn't say death. It's about the sanctions, what I want to answer. How much spite I want to put in, I want to spit in your face." And so for me, my interpretation is to leave Congo is death, not now to come back is the same. So I had better go on. And especially his word, he said we must fight as we have nothing to lose. Others have to lose, but he has nothing to lose. So that's why I'm very suspicious that he's a philosopher of a talk and fight, and the fight that actually violence pays, that he will actually give up on using violence to get what he wants in the DRC. That happens in Rwanda. So I don't know whether my minutes have gone, but the point I want to make is we have to evaluate how much damage this policy has done to Rwandans as a group and also as members of the region. And two, to think about what happens, to think about the future. How do we amend with what we have done, what the Rwandans have done? Because there is no distinction. You have Rwanda, that is, how do we do like Kisekedi, to people to understand that what is happening is not Rwandans, it is a regime. Something that we have to work on. I think he was very brave to say that, but are we conscious? Are we talking about that wherever we are going, so that if when the change comes, we are not taken as targets of the anger that we have caused to Burundi, finding having a group to go to destroy the country, in the Congo. How do we plan for the future, for the after? Was definitely his time will end. How far are we planning for the after? And of course, the economy, again, when we talk about the economy has collapsing, I can imagine now after that, how do we convince again the people to come to believe in Rwanda, to believe in Rwandans, and to believe actually we can work together and be different from what we are now. So my brother, so I could talk on and on, but I would like to stop here so not leave time for you to speak. But I'm worried. I'm worried by this. I can end with what David said, that the only solution is to remove arms from him, or to show him that violence is not something to invest in. It's better to invest in peace, invest in the people, invest in the trust, invest in good neighborliness. Because as much as we say, Rwandans are what we are. We are not. When we were young, they would tell us that Rwanda has no limit. Rwanda was everywhere. I will tell them, how is Rwanda in England? They say, how is Rwanda there? Rwanda Mifashimity. So I think that actually we are wonderful, we are extraordinary. We have to admit that we are not different from other people. So let me stop here. Otherwise, I could take all your time. But I'm very sorry for having been too long, probably. But thank you for inviting me, and the fact for giving me this opportunity to talk and share with you my deepest thoughts and hope for the better future for Rwanda. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Justin, for your powerful contribution. Um, uh, now, we truly appreciate your insights and commitment. So now I would like to pass the turn to our first vice coordinator of One National Congress, Mr. Adi. Adi, please take about 3 to 5 minutes for your remarks so that we can also hear from others afterwards. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you hear me properly?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for organizing this. And I really want to appreciate Dr. David Himbara for his contribution and for his very insightful way he has put it. And of course, my brother, elder brother Justin Bahunga, for the insightful way he has put what had already been planned to have a regional cooperation where Rwanda benefited, because we know our country has a limitation in terms of resources and in terms of even the size itself is I don't want to call it a burden, but is a limitation. So to remove those limitations or make an outreach, there were certain plans, hence regional cooperation. And instead of that, Kagame has taken a different view and a different path, the path that Dr. David has put eloquently. When I was reposting your tweet, this space of tonight, as if I had read David's mind, I put, like I always do, Kagame must go, and indeed he must go because he's a burden, and he's not only a burden, but he is a disaster for Rwandans and the region. I added, Kagame is a warmonger. Little did I know that David would eloquently describe what a warmonger is and demonstrate how Kagame is a true warmonger and the league of those who killed to the maximum. I think there is no doubt in anyone's mind who is listening now that Kagame is in the leagues of Adolf Hitler. We can say it without any doubt and any hesitation that he's in that league. Kagame is a master of manipulation. He has manipulated the minds first of Rwandans, whereby Rwandans have accepted to part with their core values. Because we Rwandan, we know our values. We know we believe in community. We believe in friendship. We believe in taking care of each other. But all that Kagame has manipulated the minds of Rwandans to the extent that that is no longer there. He has seeded the seeds of mistrust to a level that even a child doesn't trust the father doesn't trust the child, the husband doesn't trust a woman, the wife doesn't trust a brother. For the brother, it is worse. For friends who have grown together, they have reached a point whereby they can kill each other. That's manipulation. Apart from manipulating Rwandans, Kagame has been able to manipulate international systems. Every Rwandan asks themselves, with all these atrocities, with all these wrongs Kagame has done, with everything that is visible to everyone, why doesn't the international community or international systems, why don't they why don't they hold him to account? It is all to do with manipulation. it is all to do with using the money that would otherwise help develop or help Rwandans in their need, would contribute to the development that Dr. David has said other countries are doing. Kagame has used that money to buy PR firms, to whitewash, to buy leaders who talk for him, to the extent that he managed to manipulate the UN. His manipulation managed him to use the otherwise goodwill of the Rwandan army, National Army, the RDF, to help in peacekeeping. He has managed to manipulate that action to his advantage, to mask all his wrongs, but also to use it as a bargaining tool so that no action is taken, if at all it will. You all remember the case of the mapping report. As soon as it came out, there was that threat: we are going to withdraw our peacekeepers in Darfur. Of course, those in RDF who had thought of RDF contributing, first of all, building it into a professional army, but also contributing into peacekeeping, did not envision Kagame using that they had built to manipulate the world, but not only manipulate the world, but make them appear useless, make them forego their otherwise struggle they had sacrificed a lot for. You all know that RPF lost its leader in Rwigema. It lost many officers, so many young, youthful people who put their lives on line, and many died in that Akagera Park. Many died in the wars to take over in Kigali. Many died for it to achieve what they would say a start for democracy, a start for good governance, a start for entrepreneurships, for the entrepreneurs, Rwandan entrepreneurs to flourish. They had put their lives on line. Some were risen to the ranks of general. Now they are being treated like the other time, in our Kinyarwanda discussion we had, which was similar to this one, a bit similar to this one yesterday. Some commentators called them like village cooperative members. That means, with these people who are put in cooperatives who have never gone to school, or who are peasants, who are ganged together. That's how the Kagame has reduced the generals. Some of these generals are people who are learned. They have their master's degree in law. Some are economists. Some have BComs of recognizable universities. But he has reduced them to be like peasants, and they have accepted it. Thank you, David, for educating us that Kagame has guaranteed that, in addition to what he had put in the Constitution, Article 114, to protect him from any treasonable act or any wrong acts during and after leaving office. But I know he will never leave office. Kagame is a life president. Like Amin was, his role model. That now he has even put into an act or whatever, I don't know, that his family, him and his family, immediate family, will be protected till death. That shouldn't scare Rwandans, because so many have done that. Amin had declared himself a life president, but when time came, he just went. He died in exile in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. So when all this happens, that all those will be changed, and we shall put proper laws in hand. We in Rwanda National Congress, that is the first thing we tell. It is one of our first objectives. We have six strategic objectives. One of them is that of putting back the proper rule of law, where every Rwandan, when I mean of every Rwandan, I mean from president to peasant, they are all equal as regards to the law, as regards to what opportunities they get. So for him to give himself that special treatment in terms of the law to protect himself, that will be repealed immediately. Actually, the whole constitution is built, was doctored around Kagame. All that will be changed. That one we should assure Rwandans. It is a commitment by RNC and its partners in P4, and I think many others. As soon as Kagame goes, that will go. Any atrocities he has committed, he will be tried, and some of them will be those of abusing our judicial system, of abusing our systems, of capturing the state and its institutions. He's able to do all this because he captured the state. He has manipulated the international community, but luckily enough, slowly by slowly, they are starting to realize it. You all know what happened recently. Bayern Munich saying it has parted with the deal of Visit Rwanda. I'm sure many will follow over time, but we need to work. And this is where I come in. We in Rwanda National Congress, we are determined to mobilize and organize as much as we can. I know people are hopeless. They feel hopeless. Sometimes they feel it has taken too long. Sometimes they think it will not happen. That's how how dictators create that kind of mindset. That's how they manipulate people's minds. But the truth is, even the toughest dictators came down. Even the biggest empires fell. Kagame will fall. But for him to be able to fall quickly, we must step back and create that hope. Then mobilize ourselves, organize as one unit, if possible, or create alliances for that common objective or common good of liberating Rwanda once for all. Liberate Rwanda from the gallows of Kagame, from the manipulation. So there are many layers that have to be done, and these have to be done in a systematic, methodical, but also in a very sustained and persistent way, which I thank David for doing. You have been very persistent in doing this. I would like to recognize also Comrade Justin Bahunga with his FDU in Nyenji. They have been persistent in this, and want to commend the way both of you have talked about Victor Ingabire. Victor Ingabire, his incarceration, all they are putting against her is what they are putting against all of us. What happens to Victor? All of us should feel that it is happening to us. Because for her, she happens to be in Rwanda. We are not in Rwanda, but the cause she's fighting is the same cause we are fighting, of liberating our country from the gallows of that dictator. So anyone touches one of us who are in that same mindset of liberating Rwandans, liberating those generals you saw Kagame putting there, liberating our peasants, most importantly, and liberating the image of Rwanda, the name of Rwanda that Kagame has really torn apart, so that our neighbors can see us as good neighbors, can see Rwandans for what we are, as people who are only entrepreneurship, enterprising, but also willing to cooperate with others, willing to be part of a vibrant regional bodies, not a manipulator of the regional bodies, but part of a constructive engagement with regional bodies, promoting the lives of not only Rwandans, but Rwandans of our region and Africa. This is going to happen. It has taken long, but I can assure everyone that we in Rwanda National Congress, we are determined. When we fall once, when we rise a bit higher. He has killed most of our colleagues, but you have seen we have not given up, and we want. And every day we get new ways of going around to cut or to remove the veil of his manipulation. Luckily enough, Kagame remains the same, but the world is slowly learning him, and some actions are taking. They must be small, but there are steps being taken. Soon or later, they'll start be big. And to answer the question you have asked David, if I can contribute as I end my contribution. Kagame, I think the US is now learning that what he talks, he doesn't mean it. He talks peace, or he plays the victim, but everybody is learning he's a villain. You all heard what the US representative in UN talked about after the US calling the special meeting for UN Security Council to talk about the war in Congo. They were categoric in naming where Rwanda did to civilians, and when they attacked, and the deaths. When you corroborate them, they were right. So they are following it, and we need to do more to make them understand that this guy is a manipulator, this guy is a liar, serial liar, but most importantly, this guy is a serial killer and a warmonger. I yield. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adi, for your valuable contribution and leadership insights. We truly appreciate your dedication. Now I would like to welcome Time Waiter to the floor. I notice the Kenyan flags on your profile. Perhaps you are joining us from Kenya, and we deeply value the solidarity of our brothers and sisters across the region. So please kindly keep your remarks within 3 to 5 minutes.
Am I communicating?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. I would like to appreciate everyone who've been playing a role to bring this platform. Actually, I'm coming from Kenya. I used to read this icon so that my security will be highly provided. Actually, I'm 25 years old. I'm going to let you know why I'm saying this. I always spend my night for studying from you, based on the history of my country. I'm Rwandan. When you come to see how my country has been struggling for so long, until now, I come to ask you, Mr. David Himbara, been saying that all Monga to disarm him, you just disarm him. How to disarm this all Monga in your experience? How we Rwandans come together? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our brother Time Waiter. And I think that the question goes to David.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, let me clarify what I meant right there. Actually, there is no secret how dictators rise and fall. Kagame actually follows the same pattern. Capture power, think you're invincible, but then it turns out that actually you are a very vulnerable human being. Kagame it reminds me in particular of one dictator, one particular one. A man, a dictator in the Roman period, known as Emperor Caligula, that came several centuries after Caesar, the famous Caesar, Emperor Caesar. Why does Kagame remind me of Caligula? Caligula came to replace his unpopular father. And he came with good intentions, stating his visions of creating wealth, ending poverty in Rome, built infrastructures, fancy buildings. I think you guess where I'm going. Grandeur, and misled people to actually believe that he was a progressive leader. But soon, power went to his head. He started grabbing people's properties, estates, throwing Roman senators into jail, then made his wife and daughter the co-leaders. You see where I'm going now? Who runs Rwanda today? Behind. It's Kagame, Mrs. Kagame, and Kagame's daughter, Ange, who sits in the presidency and is a deputy to an American, that Kagame, that includes about dozens of Americans Kagame has imposed across the government. His office is run by an American, Mauro De Lorenzo. Angie Kagame is number 2. So moving forward, as Caligula becomes unpopular, he grants himself lifetime protection while removing protection from other leaders in the Roman Empire, including senators. He fires them, imprisons them. Guess what happened in the end? While Caligula and his wife and his daughter finished watching a play, and we are being marched to the carriage to return them home. 35 knives were plunged into Caligula's body, his wife, and his daughter. Among those people who killed Caligula are the Republican Guard who were guarding him. These are Kagame just extended protection of himself and his immediate family to the Republican Guard forever. I am not a predictor of history. I do not know how the life of the Rwandan dictator and his family will end. But I know this: no dictator's life ever ended well. It ended badly, whether at home or in exile. And among the people the dictators believe are their protectors, including those very Republican guards, whom Kagame ridicules all the time, whom he throws in prison day in and day out. Those may be very well the very people who might end his life. Kagame is not Caligula, I'm not saying that. But to conclude, to answer the question of the young man, of the Rwandan young fellow struggling in exile, I could hear him He's almost shedding tears. Young man, just be patient. I have been patient. I was a victim of Kaibanda, who massacred and kicked us out. I'm a victim of Habyarimana. I am a victim of Kagame. But there is even more, young man. In the year 1895, my great-grandfather, Nzigie, was killed by Queen Kanjogera. With her brothers who massacred the Tutsis by the thousands, who were trying to protect the rightful king, Rutarinwa, who was murdered by Kanjogera and her brothers Kabare and Ruhena Nyiko. So young man, be patient. Your time will come. Be brave, remain strong, use Kenya where you are to advance your education and your health and your good being, because, young man, it's a matter of time. Rwanda will be liberated from dictatorships. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Uncle David, for responding to that question and your words of encouragement. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of our space on Kagame's war drums and Rwandan despair. I want to sincerely acknowledge and thank all those who made this conversation meaningful today. First, our guest speaker, David Himbara, for his thorough analysis and courageous insights into Rwanda's political and economic realities. Our comrade Justin, the pen fighter, as I said, for his thoughtful and inspiring contribution. Our first vice coordinator, Ari, for his strong leadership and perspective. And lastly, you, young man, time waiter, a young 25-year-old Rwandan living in exile in Kenya, for sharing your voice. We are grateful to each of you for your contributions and the strength you bring to this struggle. Before we close officially, I would like to invite again our guest speaker, Himbara David, to give us his closing remarks and officially end this space. David, the floor is yours again.
My son Rusagara, man, you're so special in the work that you do in holding the fort as we meet, encourage one another to look beyond the horizon as we wait for the Rwanda that we deserve to come to Fatan Runana. Our time will come. God bless us all. Good night.
you